It kind of took us all off guard this morning when the Speaker announced that he would be stepping down at the end of October. We knew that there was a lot of outside movement that was pushing on the Speaker, been under a lot of criticism on the outside, not so much on the inside, but there is a group of members on the inside that have felt a bit frustrated about not moving forward fast enough on certain things. And so he caught us off guard. And now there'll be a new leader that'll step up. I'm sure there'll be several people that'll try to run for that spot. We'll just have to see what the field looks like.
Representative Ribble, when you say I think we know who the outsiders are, but what were the insiders frustrated about?
Well, I think that, with this presidential campaign going on, and you kind of watch what's happening with the presidential campaign, and then you hear that 60% of voters feel betrayed by Republicans in the Congress, the blame kind of filters up, and people are very concerned about sharing in some of that blame. They felt that maybe we should have been more forceful with Planned Parenthood or other issues. And so there's been some frustration about the movement. I told the Speaker just yesterday that I was supportive of him, that this is a very difficult job, hard to navigate. The conference is diverse, and so I thought that he's, for the most part, done a pretty good job.
Did he call you to ask you if you were still supporting him? Is this something that perhaps he was doing his own informal polling that might have helped him to make this decision today?
No, actually, I had a meeting with the Speaker on a different topic related to Planned Parenthood.
Okay,
and
Representative Reid, please bear with me one moment, but we want to go to Nancy Pelosi because she's speaking right now, and if we can, come back to you.
He talked about his encyclical. His namesake, St. Francis, is the namesake of my city of San Francisco. St. Francis was one of the first and earliest and strongest environmentalists. So I was interested to hear what His Holiness had to say yesterday and at the White House the day before on our home planet and the responsibility we have to pass it on to future generations and not to wait. It's connected to His Holiness and the challenges he gave us to, as he addressed his remarks not only to us, but to workers, to children, to seniors, how he referenced other leaders in our country who are so much a part of our culture. I would love for His Holiness to know, maybe he did, or just divine intervention, that when he referenced Martin Luther King in the Selma March, and then later referenced Thomas Merton, that John Lewis had in his backpack when he was walking over that Selma Bridge, Thomas Merton's book. So that connection of values is one that was reinforced by what His Holiness had to say yesterday. What is also happening today is the visit of China. We're excited about his cap-and-trade initiative and the agreement between our two countries to address the climate crisis, or as His Holiness called it, air pollution, because that's something people do relate to more directly. And this is good. What the Chinese are doing in this case is excellent. I had the privilege of visiting China, I think, when President Hu was president, on the subject of climate and environment and energy. And the Chinese are to be commended for what they are doing in that regard.
That's Nancy Pelosi on Capitol Hill talking about all the events that are going on there. I want to go back to Representative Reid Ribble, Republican from Wisconsin. Sorry I had to cut you off there. A lot of breaking news here, and I appreciate you hanging in there. We talked about you just yesterday telling John Boehner that you still supported him, although he wasn't necessarily taking a poll. Do you feel like, why did you have to say that? Did you feel like he felt like this was all slipping away from him?
No, I don't necessarily feel that. I think if there was a vote, he would have won it. But I do think that he felt he was becoming a distraction, and he didn't want to be a distraction. And he did share with the conference this morning that he only wanted to serve for 2 terms. That would be 4 years. He's near the end of his 5th year. But that plan was disrupted when Eric Cantor lost his primary race a year ago in August. And so he decided he needed to stay so that there was kind of a steady hand on the rudder. But he now feels that he's become a bit of a distraction, and it's time to maybe step aside, spend some time with his brand new grandchild, and certainly spend some time with his family. It's well deserved, I'll tell you that.
Right, and what we're showing on the screen right now, just moments ago, that is Representative Boehner the big-time bombshell that's been dropped. He is resigning, not just from his post as Speaker, but also completely from Washington, D.C. Acrimonious. He's obviously done a lot of great things. That's what propelled him to the position. Of recent years, though, particularly lately, a lot of members of his own party became dissatisfied with his leadership. Grassroots voters have been more verbal and demanding that he step down. And of course, we've seen this play out with the race for the White House on the Republican side, with the polls, with the outsiders who are dominating in the polls at this moment. Representative Ribble, Planned Parenthood right now is at the top of the agenda for a lot of these same dissidents that may have forced Boehner's hand. I'm not sure where you're going to vote on this, but is this the topic where the Republicans should make a stand, whether they have the numbers or not, to get back in the good graces of the grassroots, and also to make to send a message, hey, sometimes it doesn't matter if we shut down government if indeed the cause is worth it. And in this particular case, we've all seen the videos and we've all been horrified by them.
The videos are absolutely horrifying, as you said, and I do think that there's a time now to draw a line in the sand, but we have to win this argument first with the American people. The Speaker mentioned just this morning that he wanted to have a select committee made up of members of the Energy and Commerce Committee to really do the deep dive on this and actually show the American people what's been going on at Planned Parenthood. I was struck by Nancy Pelosi's comments a moment ago where she pivoted from the Pope's comments on climate change and never once mentioned the numerous times that the Pope said that we need to defend life at every stage of development. And he was very strong yesterday on this pro-life issue, and it seems like the left just wants to ignore it.
And if that's the case, sir, then why would you guys need a committee? I mean, when you said that, I'm thinking immediately of Europe. Every time something goes wrong there, they have a committee that will study something that the last committee couldn't get straight. Isn't there enough ammunition now for the Republican Party to draw that line in the sand you just talked about?
Certainly fair enough observation. The problem is that the American people haven't seen the videos. We need to get them exposed and take a short period of time here, a month or two, to make sure that the American people understand what's really going on. And stop and think about this for a moment. What the left is saying to us is that the human life itself has no value, but the individual body parts do. And that's a shocking thing to say, and we have to get that message out so the American people are aware of it, of what's going on, so that we can protect the unborn.
Representative Reid Ribble, really appreciate your time this morning, and hopefully we'll have you back on real soon. It's been a crazy morning. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Washington, D.C.